On the Newshour Debate tonight, R.C. Bhargava, Chairman of Maruti Suzuki India Ltd. Thank you very much, Mr. Bhargava. I think it's the first time you're on Newshour tonight. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Prasenjit Bose, left-leaning economist.
Thank you.
Lord Meghnad Desai is joining us from London. Ravi Shankar Prasad is joining us from Delhi, Deputy Leader of the Opposition in the Rajya Sabha. We will be joined, we will not go unrepresented from the Congress. The Congress spokesperson, Rajeev Gowda, is joining us in a minute. But before I go into that part, Lord Desai, Chidambaram says, given what is happening in other countries in the world, I think we are doing pretty well. Do you agree with that?
No, I think even if other countries are not doing so well, India is not doing so well compared to what it could do and what it used to do. So I think he has to admit, and I'm sure he knows, that some of the shortfall in growth is because of the policy paralysis we've had. And the state of the rupee and the fact that the Reserve Bank of India had to increase interest rates, yet again reversing its previous policy, shows that there is a serious crisis in the economy. And the industrial production figures are not very good. So I think Chidambaram will have to say something much more specific and concrete if he believes that the growth rate is going to be revived in the economy.
No, I agree.
I think time is running out.
I agree, but that acknowledgement is missing. That acknowledgement is missing, and that is why we are getting increasingly worried. The government seems to be quite happy at moving at the pace that it does. It's very happy at the pace at which it responded to the fall of the rupee.
The problem is this. The problem is this, Arnab. Half of the Congress party, the left half, doesn't believe in budget constraint, doesn't believe in ruling out, reducing deficit. They just want to spend. On food security, Narega, whatever it is. It is the finance minister and the prime minister and the deputy chairman of planning commission who are worried about economy, but they don't have sufficient power to do anything.
Yeah. The point is even more than powers.
Around trying to invite investment.
More than powers, they have not done anything. But I am told that R.C. Bhargava, before I welcome Rajeev Gowda, R.C. Bhargava, before I go into straight political debate, I believe you don't completely blame the government, that is your view. Why is that your view, Mr. Bhargava, and why do you think so?
You see, what I believe is that the sector of the economy which is of the greatest concern is the industrial manufacturing sector. The agricultural sector has some problems, but it has been carrying on like that for a long time. And the services sector has been a little bit of a decline for the last 2 years, but there are no major problems in the services sector. The manufacturing sector is one which has declined substantially, and I believe the reasons for this are not something which has happened recently, but over a long period of time in India, we have neglected the manufacturing sector. India ranks 132 in terms of ease of doing business. It's not something which has happened in the last year or 5 years. It is something which is the result of what's been happening over the last 50 years. In terms of cost competitiveness, we have over a period of time neglected to make industry cost competitive. All authorities think that their job is not to facilitate cost competitiveness of the private sector, but they act more as regulators. And as a result of this, over decades, the manufacturing sector used to survive at one time because there was no competition. But now when competition has come in, the global markets have opened out, and there's a downturn in the economy, we find we are just not able to do what is required to be done. So it's not something which one can blame on just one government or on the central government, because a large part of manufacturing activities, its costs, its delays are related to what happens in state governments. So it's a combination of state governments, central government, plus the fact that a large number of the entrepreneurs, a large majority of them, have failed to win the confidence either of the politicians or of the bureaucracy or of the public. They are largely suspect for their actions. And therefore, this situation where both sides suspect each other prevents anything happening.
Mr. Bhargava, with great respect to you, I feel in your opening remarks you're blaming everyone but the government. 1.16%. 1.6% is the index of industrial production. And when the Prime Minister calls a meeting of industrialists, he calls it on the 29th of this month, after 2 weeks. Is that the reaction time we responded? Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, I think it's time to come to you. Mr. R.C. Bhargava, given the opening remarks, says it's not the responsibility of the UPA 2 alone. This is not a problem that happens in 9 years. Your response?
Well, don't try to embarrass Mr. Bhargava. The way things are happening on the manufacturing sector, industrial front in the last so many years, particularly under the UPA, is too well known under an economist Prime Minister. But let me come to one basic issue, Arnab Goswami. Mr. Chidambaram is not owning up the accountability of gross mismanagement of Indian economy by the government of India. Let me give you one example which would suffice very clearly. Infrastructure sector is an area on which there is no dispute, whether it's FDI or whatever it is. Now let me see 4 core areas of infrastructure. Telecom, under serious controversy because of corruption, gross mismanagement. What happened in 2G, you know it very well. Power sector, 67% of India is based upon thermal power based, coal. What happened in coal block allocations, corruption, policy paralysis. Today the entire power sector is in a mess. More than 1 lakh crore of bank money is involved there. Third, national highway. Again, an area of shining growth. Today there is corruption in National Highway Authority, CBI and whatnot. The entire highway has come to a knot. Real estate, again, a shining example of growth sector. Real estate is also in a mess because of reasons you know it very well, who is being benefited, what rules are being bent. Now here is an area, if I can say on first principles, good economics and good politics go hand in hand if there is good governance. And good governance is the biggest casualty under UPA led by Congress party. And why is it when their production is 5% less or GDP is going down, at the same time, be it Gujarat, be it Madhya Pradesh, be it Chhattisgarh, be it Goa or maybe some of their states are registering 10% plus growth rate? Even manufacturing is going there because there is a stability, no policy paralysis, clarity, and also corruption index is very low. Because these are important issues which the UPA led by Congress is not willing to acknowledge. It is happening under an economist prime minister. Our economy is getting totally mismanaged.
Rajeev Gowda, I think you're on a very weak wicket tonight. Because everyone's saying one thing. The symptoms have been there. The symptoms have been there of the lag in your economy, of inflation, of falling growth. Even the rupee, Rajeev Gowda, falls to 8 to 10 days. And I'm sorry to have to say this, senior officials of the government of India are traveling and holidaying abroad while the rupee is on free fall and they do absolutely nothing. Now, either you can expect the market to intervene and save the situation or your government intervenes. The one question everyone wants to ask you is you cannot make up your mind. Your government cannot make up its mind on how to react to this kind of a situation. What does that reflect but complete indecision and policy paralysis, Mr. Gowda?
Arnab, there are multiple points in response to your statements here. One, take a look at the fiscal deficit. That has been kept under tight control.
Really?
So, the last budget that Mr. Chidambaram presented was, yes, absolutely.
Really?
Was well within.
What is your definition of tight control, Mr. Gowda?
Second.
What is your definition of tight control, Mr. Gowda?
Well, at a time when many countries are going through recessions and are spending much more freely, we ended up maintaining the exact 5-point-something percentage that he had promised, and he kept to that. Now, let's go to the other issues involved.
Well, I thought the fiscal deficit was projected at 542,499 crore. Is that tight control, Mr. Gowda? Are you sure of your facts?
We're talking about a percentage.
Well, I'm talking about the reality.
We're well within the range of what it was.
What is your range? On top of it, you have a fiscally draining scheme like the food bill. Now, are you sure of your facts on the fiscal deficit, or have you gone wrong right at the start tonight?
Absolutely. Please go check on what Mr. Chidambaram presented last time and where it fit. Now, along with that, we have to look at the other economies and what's happening. We are coupled with the larger global economy. Our growth rate has slowed down, but it has not slowed down, in comparison to to the other BRICS. We are actually doing much better. And then the real issues here are about...
Are we discussing India or Brazil, Mr.
That
Gowda?
continues to be a major challenge.
Are we discussing India or Brazil tonight? I want to discuss
we are
India.
discussing India. Yeah, Arnab, I'd be happy to send you to Brazil, but we're discussing India here.
I'm sure you would like to send me to Brazil, but I'd rather stay in India and discuss India.
Okay, the current account deficit has some major issues, and that is really the problem that we're trying to address. Today, you've seen the Prime Minister basically presiding over a meeting that has opened up foreign direct investment in a variety of sectors. That's the kind of decisive action that we've been waiting for, and we've been getting it. Basically, what we need in India is foreign inflows of which have a longer-term perspective, not shorter-term inflows which come and go depending on global.
No, you have not answered my. You've just not answered my question. You're not answered my question. No, you've not answered my question. My basic question. You're basically wrong on the fundamentals of the issue. Yeah. Where Prasenjit wants to take your. I see two hands go up now. Ravi Shankar Prasad and Meghnad Desai. Would you like to intervene at this point? Okay, why don't we go in with one intervention? No. Okay, Prasenjit wants to also open up the debate, then we'll open it up to debate. Okay, Prasenjit, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I think I would like to remind Mr. Gowda that he is admitting here that the current account deficit is a problem. But did your finance minister today accept that? Did he address the issue when he was addressing the press conference? He actually said that we are doing pretty well, completely oblivious of the fact that we have a huge current account deficit problem, and that is precisely where it is so different. I mean, if you are talking about the BRICS economies, yes, they are facing problems, but show me one BRIC economy which is today having a current account deficit of over 5% of GDP. Second, the kind of depreciation and the sharp depreciation of the rupee that we have seen, which is also having an impact on the domestic prices of oil, I suspect of fertilizer and coal very shortly. What is the finance minister saying? He is saying leave it to the market. The rupee will find its own price. That means he is showing utter complacency. I don't think that the government is actually addressing or in fact even admitting the fact that there is a problem in the economy. I think that is a very pathetic situation.
Has the government gone into a shell, Mr. Gowda? Has the government gone into a shell on the economy?
Okay. Let me rebut now. Let me rebut that. First, Mr. Chidambaram and the RBI governor, many people have been flagging the current account deficit as a problem. He may not have done it in today's press conference.
No,
I do not know
today,
that.
Where did he say that today?
This is an issue that we are very well aware of. Second, the policy is to let the rupee float. The policy is not to, aim for a particular number in terms of the exchange rate. Okay, that has been the policy, and that is decisive in its own way. The basic issue is what is happening in the global
Why did
markets.
the RBI increase the interest rates today?
Are down. That's because we want to prevent volatility. We want to prevent speculative movement.
Mr. Gowda, let me simplify this. Mr. Gowda,
trying to reach a psychological...
Mr. Gowda, watch it. Mr. Bhargava is a car manufacturer. He will understand my analogy. No, watch it. I want to bring it to fundamentals. Watch it. Mr. Gowda, 1 minute.
Hold on.
I want to finish my point.
No.
I want to finish my point.
I am taking today a simple analogy, Mr. Gowda. Allow me just one brief intervention.
Getting stronger. Hold on.
One intervention. I want to use the car analogy. Mr. Bhargava is the chairman of Maruti Suzuki. He will understand this analogy. Now, cars are not selling. Okay? White goods in India are not selling. Ask Mr. Bhargava, he will accept it. On top of it, you harden your interest rates. So your loans become expensive. Your EMIs go up, right? So car sales will go down again. Companies will shut down. Employment will be affected. All of this has a spiraling effect. Now, what is the reason? The reason is this. The reason is this, sir, that your government has never reacted on time. The falling rupee is a result of capital inflows, sir. Capital outflows, sign that investors do not have confidence in the Indian markets. Today you are hiking FDI in 4 sectors. Why didn't you do something earlier? What was holding you back?
Arnab, may I now?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So basically, when you look at the rupee dollar rate, okay, essentially what's happening is that the American dollar is getting stronger. Quantitative easing may be ending there. As a result, that becomes a much more attractive investment destination. That is why monies are flowing out of here, not having anything to do with the fundamentals of India. It has to do with the American market getting more attractive.